All right, I'm doing a little chit chat about the mental game during prep. This could apply to just like being in a deficit, but I'm in prep right now. So one of my athletes asked me this and I thought it was a great topic. So just like how you stay in the mental game, you know, knowing something that it's like a short-term thing, pushing on your hard days, things like that. So I thought I would start by just talking about what my struggles are when I'm in prep, when I'm in a deficit. The main one is low energy. So for me, my food is still pretty high right now. I'm only 5 weeks into prep, but my cardio is high. So I'm moving and grooving. Today's a rest day, thank God. But, you know, I have cardio in the morning, cardio in the afternoon. I'm at training. I pose every single day. And then I have normal life stuff like work and a step goal and all those things. So it's just normal for my energy to be low, and that obviously shows up in other areas of my life. Like I need to show up higher energy for my athletes, and for just like my relationships and things like that. But I can also communicate those things to those people as well. So just letting people know like, hey, I might seem a little bit more tired. It's okay. It's part of prep, you know. But not thinking that I'm like being less enthusiastic or anything, because I have a very like more bubbly, positive personality. So I think I get a little bit more subdued during prep too. So I think if people know like, oh, that's why she's feeling that way, it can just be helpful that people are aware of it. But when it comes to having low energy, you know, in an off season or any other phase, if I'm like feeling so tired and I have to go to the gym or whatever it is, and I'm just like dead exhausted, I know it's not going to be the best training session, things like that. In any other phase, I might be like, all right, this might not be the best day for this. But in prep, like it's such a limited amount of time and we have a goal to reach. It's just one of those things like no matter what, I'm getting this done, I'm showing up. Of course I'm not gonna like hurt myself or anything like that, but if I'm tired, I'm tired. I'm still gonna go to the gym. I'm gonna give my training session my best. I can tell you last night I had my upper body day, and I was just going through the motions. Like I felt like my brain and my body were like on different planets, but I got through the workout. I still hit some PRs too. But I just have that mindset of like, I'm in it to win it. I'm showing up no matter what. I'm gonna check off all the boxes, and that's just all there is to it. You kind of like have to just turn this switch of like, there is no missing, you know, none of that. So that's kind of what it is like just kind of accepting that low energy is normal. And I think that's part of it too, is like, if you get frustrated of like, oh my God, my energy is so low, what the hell? It's like, that does come along with the territory of being in a deep deficit, you know, is you're gonna get tired, and that's just part of the game and you gotta put up with it. So, you know, I've been away from dieting for 4 years, so I think I've definitely been able to appreciate this phase a lot more, where I'm just like, hey, I've been working so hard to get to be able to do this. I get to prep right now, and there's going to be hard days with that, but that's okay. It also manifests as being less social, so boundaries around social things, relationships, that's something I've been huge on this prep. And I'm lucky to have some like friends who set good examples for this too, because for example, my friend Sam, she's also my neighbor. She's prepping right now. We're hanging out together a lot, but I see how good she is at being like, I'm going to bed at like 8. Like, I don't care what you think about that. Like, I'm not breaking that boundary for anything. And I've been really working on that. I still am continuing to work on that, but like, if I have friends that want to FaceTime, if I have friends that want to stop by and hang out, which I am very lucky, the community I live in, I have a lot of close friends that literally live in my neighborhood, in my building, things like that, one building over. So just like letting them know like, hey, I have to get to bed. This is really important to me. I need to get my 7 to 8 hours of sleep. This is super important, and they're supportive. They're gonna understand that. But sometimes you just gotta remind them, like, yeah, I do gotta get to bed. And then in that sense too, like social wise, I'm not eating out this prep at all, unless for some reason Kevin tells me to, but I'm not like fitting meals into my macros. That's a different story. Lifestyle, that's fine, but prep, that's not happening. I am only eating food that I make for myself. So I can bring my meals to a restaurant if I want to, but I'm kind of just going with the approach of like, in most scenarios, unless it's a special occasion or something, I'm just gonna be like, yeah, I'm gonna pass on the like food centered outings, but I still am doing things with my friends. If you follow me on Instagram, you know that me and a couple of my friends, but I'll touch on friendship in prep in a bit, but we do like little Ninja Creamy nights where we all make like protein ice cream that fits into our plan and everything like that. So we do fun things like that with my friends who aren't in the bodybuilding world. We do game nights, we go to the beach, we just hang out. Like, I mean, I don't drink outside of prep either, so it's not like a big lifestyle change as far as like that type of thing. Yeah, maybe I fit in meals out, like in my off season I had a weekly free meal, things like that. So that's something I'm not doing, but there's so many other things that I can do during prep. And I'll try to kind of document some of those things too, because I think that's something that in a deficit, whether you're in prep or just a lifestyle deficit, a lot of people do struggle with like, oh, I can't be social, and that's not true at all. Like, I'm honestly like the most social I've ever been right now, and I'm having a great time, and I'm not eating out, I'm not drinking alcohol, and you don't need those things. So I would love to like kind of go into more detail and like show examples of that more as I document this prep. I might be less talkative, so because I'm low energy and I'm like more introverted anyways, it very much easily shows up as me being like less talkative when I'm tired. It very much is like my brain is also tired, and I have a hard time like sometimes keeping up a conversation or like being as talkative as I might be other times. So if I'm more quiet, it is not because I don't want to talk, it's just like my brain is not braining a lot of the time. And more quiet, like I've noticed this in past preps, but my like the volume of my voice literally becomes quieter, and I think that's an energy thing too. Like I am trying to save energy by not speaking as loud, and I'm already a quiet person, but I notice more throughout prep people will be like, what, I can't hear you. So that is something too. More brain farts and like unfinished thoughts. So I might just like stop a sentence mid thought and not complete it. Or I think even yesterday my neighbors were over, and I like wasn't finishing my sentences, and Tiff was like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm just tired. But that does like start happening where you just like can't finish sentences and have full conversations sometimes. So your brain just gets tired. That's what happens. Now this isn't something like I'll complain about or like a struggle, but like I get very much more clumsy. I'm already a very clumsy person, but I start like dropping lots of things. Today I spilled my coffee. Last week I dropped a weight on my foot and it's all bruised. The same day I like broke a bracelet and it went everywhere in my friend's apartment. Like I'm so clumsy. So like I feel like my hands like stop functioning sometimes when I'm in prep. Now a struggle I wanted to bring up that I actually don't deal with, but I wanted to bring this up like when I'm just talking about the mental game in a deficit or any phase that you're in, is comparison. I've always been very good at not comparing myself to other competitors or other physiques or anything like that, and I'm so glad that I don't deal with that. I will say like in other areas of life I have struggled with comparison, like usually career-wise. Like oh, that person is farther along in their career, like, or I thought I would be like here by now in my career or whatever. But as far as like physiques and stuff, I really don't compare. I really don't look at other competitors of like, oh, that person's gonna be in the same show as me, like worrying myself about that. I've never done that, and I just know that all I can control is myself and how I show up and how I do my day-to-day tasks. Like, all I'm in control of is myself every single day during prep, and like I have no control over who shows up at my shows or how my physique looks compared to someone else, besides just like following my plan that my coach wrote for me that I trust him to do. So as from beginning to now, I haven't struggled with that really. You know, I again have friends who are competitors that I hang out with a lot, and some of us are at different stages in prep. One of my best friends is competing in like 2 weeks now, less than 2 weeks. So she is like absolutely shredded. She's gonna kill it at her show, but like I'm not comparing myself to her, who like I'm like months away from my show and she's very close to her show. We post together all the time, and I'm not like comparing my physique to hers because I shouldn't be where she is with her physique. I should not be that lean right now, so I'm not worried about that. And even like when it comes to comparing like strong parts of your physique, if that makes sense, I don't really do that either, because all of us have strong points in our physique. Mine are my legs. I have friends who have like killer glutes. I have friends who have like really chiseled abs, you know, or crazy delts, you know, and we all have things that are our strong points and our weak points in our physique. And again, all we can do is work on that and follow our program that is designed to improve our weaknesses. And so that's what I do. And I embrace the things that are my strengths, and I work on the things that are my weaknesses, and I don't get pissed off that like someone else has a better one than me. Sometimes genetically that's just the case, and there's nothing like beneficial coming out of it for me to compare myself to someone else in that way of like me trying to look like someone else that maybe doesn't have my body type or something. All I can do is try to meet the bikini criteria for the division that I compete in, you know, is the glutes, the shoulders. I've been working at it for a long time. So yeah, comparison, that's kind of my take, is like, it is not worth my energy to like that mind fuck of comparing myself to someone else. Not worth my time or energy. So that is that. Something I really, especially this prep, but like just in general, I think is like super important, is just focusing on the present. Again, showing up how I need to, one day at a time. At this day, in this moment, am I doing the things I need to do to show up as my best self today and for future me? Like, yes, the ultimate goal is for me to win my show. I want to win the overall. I want to then go to nationals. I want to win my pro card, and I have to believe in myself that I can do that. But what that takes to get there is just showing up today as the best version of myself and doing everything I can in my program, doing everything I need to do. But I am not worried about not being in an X spot yet. So like I just said, I'm not comparing myself to my friend Sam, who's competing in 2 weeks, worried about how I'm not where she's at, because I don't need to be where she's at. My show is not 2 weeks from now, you know? So it doesn't do any good to focus on like, I'm not at the end goal yet, when the end goal isn't supposed to be right now. You know, there's a plan, and the end goal is the end goal, and I'll get there when I get there. And even if it didn't work out in the timeline that like me and my coach planned us to, like, that is for him to worry about, honestly. So I think a strength of mine as an athlete is that I try to encourage my own lifestyle athletes to be this way as well, but I just follow my plan. You could ask my coach, like, if I have questions, I'm gonna ask him. Like, I'm not gonna not understand something or like risk doing something wrong because I'm scared to ask a question. No, I'm very comfortable asking him questions, but for the most part, like when I send my check-in, I send my pictures, I send a good morning, here's my link, and if there's anything specific I need to let him know about the week, I'll let him know. Any questions I have, I'll ask him, but usually it's just good morning, here's my check-in, here's my photos, and then I wait for his, and my training videos, and I wait for my response, you know. I'm not like leaving paragraphs for him. I am not like sending these voice memos that I'm like overthinking things or anything like that. I am just like, hey, here's where I'm at, here's all the questions and data that you ask from me, and then I wait for his response. And I don't question what he tells me to do, unless I truly like don't understand it, and then I'm like, hey, can you explain why you're doing this, or like, hey, like, is it possible that we do XYZ, whatever. But I don't sit there and question like, is he doing the right thing, or like, this doesn't make sense, or even complaining about it. Like, I think we all like at some point are like, ah, oh, fuck this workout, or like, I'm so sick of this food, or whatever, you know. But it is just like such a mental release if you just let go and just do what's on the plan. Like, just do it. That's why you have a coach. And so I think I'm very good at just like listening to what he says, doing what I need to do, and there's no like, I don't know, mental masturbation around like me like questioning what he's doing or the plan or anything. Like, I picked him because I do trust him. He's a great coach, and he's gonna get me where I need to be. While we're talking about that, meal plan versus macros. So my very first prep in 2017, I did a meal plan. And then my next prep, I went like the other direction and did macros. Excuse me. And I think I wanted to like almost prove that I could do it with macros, like, oh, I can eat the foods I want to eat and still have the best physique. I'm gonna be honest with you, it was not my best prep. My second show in 2020, I will say like I was proud of the package I brought, but I think because of using macros, and I think if I used macros now it would not be the same because my approach with macros is way different, but having a meal plan is way less to think about. There's less question marks because you're not changing food sources up all the time and things like that. If this stops randomly, it's because my battery's gonna die. But it's just like, I'm following what's on this spreadsheet. I do know how to use macros to swap foods out. So like, for example, I swapped zucchini for cucumber. Very simple switch, but I'm not just like eating random things or fitting random things into my program, or, you know, day to day eating completely like different things. And even if you are using macros, you should be following like a meal plan that you write for yourself, basically. But I just find a meal plan is way less stressful, and I like the structure of it, and that leaves no questions. Like, my coach knows what I'm eating. Yeah. That's what I think. I think that having the flexibility to swap little things out if you need to is nice. Or if you like run out of food or like something, you know what to do with that and it doesn't stress you out. But like, I think in general, having the structure of a meal plan is super helpful. And then the last thing I think I was going to touch on was the social circle. So this has been so different, this prep, and it has been the best thing. I'm just so happy. I'm so enjoying this prep. I mean, I love being in prep either way, but it's just so different when you have the most supportive social circle. And then I'm just very lucky because my friends just happen to be in prep at the same time as me. So I have Sam, Miriam, and Lisa, who all live in Orlando as well, and we're all in prep right now. So we pose together, sometimes we train together, we text all the time, we have those Ninja Creamy parties, and we just relate to each other. We are going through the same thing, so we can hang out together and not go out to eat. We can hang out together and just chill, you know. But it's just so much more fun when you have people to do it with. It is an individual sport, but I've always found it's more fun when you do have like a team of people who are going through it with you. My first prep ever, I did it with like a local coach, And so I did prep with other people, and that was really fun for me, and I loved that like community aspect. My second prep wasn't really like that. It was during COVID, first of all. I was on a team, but I didn't have anyone local to me that I was like hanging out with or anything, and it definitely was a different, and I would say less fun experience. And I can tell you, I am just having like the time of my life right now with this prep. I am hanging out with my best friends. We are all pushing each other and supporting each other. We are having little ninja creepy parties, and it's just fun. So I think having a social circle, if you can find people who are in the bodybuilding world to prep with you, that's great. Even if you're in a lifestyle like dieting phase or any phase, like finding people who are living the same lifestyle as you is huge, because they don't question that you're bringing a food scale everywhere. They don't think it's weird that you have to like go for a walk to get your steps in. It's just nice to have people that understand. And then, like I said, even my friends that don't bodybuild are super supportive and understanding too. So I think I'm just like in such a better place right now with that stuff, and I couldn't be happier about that. So that, I think, wraps up like my major thoughts on like mindset, having a good support system, showing up when you gotta show up, you know, trying not to compare, just focus on the present. That's where we're at. So if you have any other questions, leave them in the comments. If you have any other things that you would like me to touch on or talk about, let me know, and I'll catch you in the next video.